What is up, wrestling friends? You are watching American Women's Wrestling Radio live on Facebook. We are in our second week of the Virtual Best of All Time with Reaper Wrestling. We have, as you can see, a number of guests with us today. I'm going to start by introducing the other Bleacher brother, who is really nervous because we have an SFU wrestler on the show with us today, and he is New York's biggest SFU fan, Ben Lewandowski. Welcome, Ben.
Hey, everybody. Good to be here today.
I'm also here with Julia Salata. Julia is no stranger to the women's wrestling community, collegiate initiatives program manager for Wrestle Like a Girl, assistant coach at King University, senior level wrestler. Welcome, Julia.
Happy to be here. Again, now I'm second time on AWW. I don't even consider this AWW radio or not, but glad to be back.
This is going to go on our podcast within a couple weeks.
Glad to be back.
Lightning does strike twice. We've also got with us three-time All-American from SFU. Ben, stay calm. Just calm down. Three-time All-American from SFU. From California. I'm on the East Coast. She's on the West Coast. Lauren Mason, welcome.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me. I'm super stoked to be here.
And then, of course, we have the one, the only national champion, U.S. Open champion this year, NCAA champion, actually, nationals champion officially. NCAA
whatever the title is for.
Welcome.
Good to be here.
So, okay, we're in week 2. Emma, you want to kind of set the context of what we're doing here?
Yeah, just to kind of address some feedback we've gotten over the last week, and we do appreciate feedback. It gives us a chance to kind of reiterate why we're doing this project and what it means to all of us here and just to the women's wrestling community in general. So the reason that we decided to do this project from 2004 and onwards, because a lot of people, when they saw the brackets, understandably were like, where's Teresa Saunders? Where's Asun? And some of those greats that weren't around, when it started to be an Olympic sport. And because these are Olympic weights, and also because besides kind of the big hitters, Teresa and Asun and some of those girls, it's just really hard to find information about girls before 2004. It's even hard to find info about girls in the 04-08 quad. So we wanted to be as accurate as we possibly can. So we'd like to acknowledge just how great those athletes are, and they're definitely all-time greats, even though they aren't in this bracket. And then again, our goal with this project, and the reason we started in the round of 16, is to educate the women's wrestling community on as many athletes as we can. We don't want to just give the spotlight to certain athletes or current athletes. We really want to educate on athletes currently, on athletes, from other quads, and just get that information out there.
I do want to let our viewers on Facebook Live right now know that you could feel free to leave any comments or questions in the comment thread. We will be looking at that. We do have the greatest mind in women's wrestling from Madrid, New York. Ben,
Well, you're talking about me?
Yeah. In Madrid. I mean, your town is like what, 400 or 500 people?
Yeah, I'm really close to I'm about a stone's throw from Canada, though some people SFU is in fact in Canada. But anyhow, I know I wanted to say I'm not the greatest mind in sports or wrestling or any sport for that matter. Listen, let me just say this, because I feel like I want to say this. I am simply a fan. I love women's wrestling. I enjoy wrestling in general, enjoy many things. I love this journey because I frankly am learning so much about the great sport of wrestling, and certainly don't want anybody to think I'll probably be the quietest one on the show today, simply listening to all the knowledge come forth from the ladies here about the matches. But I do have opinions. They may or may not be wrong.
Well, I think, Ben, you represent, I think, what we're looking for in the wrestling community. We're trying to promote the sport. We're trying to educate people on women's wrestling. And, you represent, I think, the kind of person that we want to start following this sport and learn about this sport. Just like you've learned the storylines, you've learned the rivalries, you're learning this stuff. And I think that you found out what I've found out, and many people are finding out, and that is if you tell stories and you follow these matchups and you follow this sport, it is just as exciting as men's wrestling or any sport that's out there and deserves the coverage, that we're giving to it. So I think that, you represent, I think what we're looking to do in something like this project and in American women's wrestling, which is promote it to people who are going to become fans of it.
Yeah, I represent basically a little bit of an overweight, really bad high school wrestler.
Okay, now we were talking before the show started last week. Emma basically put the over under. How long it would take Victoria Anthony to inside trip you at 20 seconds.
Was it Victoria Anthony or Victoria Francis?
Victoria Anthony.
Okay.
She's the one. She's got that inside trip. So
right, of course. But I was just thinking, I wonder if I could last 20 seconds against anybody at that point. But
Lauren said she picked the under, right? Emma had picked the under.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ben.
I'm picking the over because I know you're like a block of stone, right? I mean, you have a good stance.
I hope so. Yeah.
Congratulations on that, Julia.
I was a blue belt in karate.
Okay, blue belt in karate. That means something. So, Julia, what's your take over under on? Now this is the guy who said he could beat you in jiu-jitsu. By the way,
I did not say I want to say under. Just to be a jerk, I want to say under. But,
yes.
But
Ben.
But objectively speaking,
yes.
If all he did was turn around and run away for 20 seconds, like take the passivity call, maybe he could last. But
thank you,
Yeah.
Julia.
Yes.
Yeah, he did throw Tanner Hall.
Trying to be objective here.
Thank you.
Yeah, he'd be like one of those cute little kid videos, like a 2-year-old who wrestles. They blow the whistle and he runs down like 3 mats away. Anyway, all right. So let's get back to it. Emma, do we want to dive in here now to the weight classes? Are we ready to do that?
Yeah, I think we're ready to roll. I'm excited to hear all your guys' thoughts. So let's start off with 50 kg. All the matchups at this point are absolutely insane. But the first one is 2012 Clarissa Chun versus 2019 Erin Goldstein, and the fan vote went to Clarissa Chun.
Yeah, and rightly so, I think. This match happened. Of course, we're not talking about, when Chun wrestled Goldstein when Chun was at her prime. But this match did happen, and, Clarissa Chun, I think she beat her 10-0 when Erin Goldstein was a younger wrestler. But if we're talking about Clarissa Chun in 2012 at her prime, her quickness, her trick, she had this funky single leg outside trip. I don't know if any of you saw that, or remember that. But she hit that a number of times on Erin. I know 2019 Erin is different than 2012 Erin for sure, but Clarissa's got my vote on this one.
Yeah, I think Clarissa, she has just a lot of things that are dangerous. She has really good arm throws. She has a good judo background. And I think Erin had a really breakthrough year in 2019. She had a good ranking tournament with wins over Anthony and Whitney. But I think Chun would just present some problems for Erin to score on. She's got those kind of tricky throws. She has really good baseline attacks. So I think I would go with Chun, even though Erin had a great year.
Strictly from a standpoint of 2012, Clarissa Chun was an Olympic bronze medalist.
Yeah.
And as good of a year as Erin had this year, she also beat Haley this past year at the U.S. Open. You have Olympic bronze medalists and you have, someone that has some good wins, but didn't have an international medal, world medal, that is. So I think just from that standpoint, in a vacuum, you have to give the win to Chun there.
Yeah, I agree with Julia.
Yeah, now you agree with me. You on the mat, bud.
Jitsu mat, bro. Lauren, we got to have your vote here.
I definitely agree with. There's something to be said about a world medal, and especially an Olympic world medal and a bronze. That is a big deal. And that's not saying that, Erin didn't have some great wins and some super upset matches, but I think there's just some power and some oomph that comes with an Olympic gold medal. So I agree. I think I would take Chun over Goldstein.
Chun over Goldstein it is. All right.
All right. Our next matchup is a good one. I think it has happened. I'm not sure. 2016 Haley Abuelo, Olympian versus 2019 Whitney Condor. And the fan vote went to Haley.
Yeah.
It has
I'm
happened.
going to go with Haley here. And this is interesting because, well, 2017, Haley actually beat Whitney in 2 matches to make the world team in Vegas at World Team Trials. So you have that going for you. 2, people forget how good 2016 Haley was. I mean, you go to the Olympics, she was beating Tosaka at one point before ending up giving a takedown. And I think she got laced at that point or high gutted or something. But 2016 Haley was on a tear. And you take that and then you take into consideration that Haley beat Whitney in a best 2 out of 3 situation to make the world team in 2017. To me, those 2 things give Haley the nod in that matchup.
Yeah, this is tough. This is tough for me. I definitely watched a few matches of them both. Obviously, watched the 2017 matchups. The 2015 where Whitney beat her in the Dave Schultz tournament in 2015. Amazing wrestlers. I'm going to go with Whitney on this one.
I think it's hard because we didn't exactly see, Whitney was already qualified for the trials and stuff. So we didn't see her at like the Open or Farrell, and Haley was at the Open. I think you definitely have the matches in Haley's direction in 2017. Even though it wasn't her peak year, you could also make a case that it was. And then the only thing I think you could argue since against the head-to-head wins would be that if you take a common opponent like Victoria Anthony, Whitney beat her 2 matches. And even though Haley did beat Whitney to make the world team, Vicky outplaced her at Farrell this year. But all in all,
but again, you're looking at 2016 Haley. In 2016, beat Vicky in the best 2 out of 3 in the finals of Olympic trials. So that's kind of a wash to me. Again, if we're talking 2016 Haley, that to me, that's where you kind of have to give her the edge, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm going with Haley on this one.
I definitely think like Whitney's had a super good year in 2019. I think she's had some standout matches, especially like winning Final X. But I do agree with that 2016, the 2 wins that Haley has over Whitney. That's very telling, I think.
Yeah, Condor had a great year this year. She's been wrestling a while. She's been around a long time, and it's amazing to see somebody level up even late in their career, like she did this year. She had a 7-0 win over Goldstein at the 2019 U.S. Open, the one that happened. There's kind of 2 U.S. Opens in 2019, right? They called the second one Senior Nationals. But she had a 7-0 win over Goldstein, and Goldstein actually beat Agello 4-4 in the semis. But again, like Julia pointed out, we're talking about 2016 Haley Agello, and for that reason, Haley's got my vote as well.
Okay, I think that gives majority to Haley. So our next matchup is, in my opinion, my favorite matchup of 50 kg. We got 2013 Alyssa Lampe, the year she won one of her world bronzes, versus 2016 Victoria Anthony when she took 5th in the world at 48 kg. And the fan vote was actually a tie. So I think it's a wash for this one. Yeah, it was 50-50.
Dang.
All right, well, there's 5 of us here, so that we should be able to solve that, right?
I know.
It's hard to get away from what happened head-to-head that year. Alyssa Lampe won the best of 3 against Victoria Anthony. She lost one of those matches too, but the 2 matches she won match 1, 10-2, and then the 3rd matchup she won 5-0. I know we're talking about 2000. It says 17. Are we talking 2016 or 17? Victoria Anthony.
17 when she beat Cody Fow to make the world team.
Okay. Obviously that's a different year and a different version of Victoria. That said, we saw Alyssa Lampe, in December, and she still looked pretty darn good.
Yeah, and she has a recent win too, which is just hard to I know it's not the years we're comparing, but it is hard to get out of your head.
Yeah, so I'm going Lampe.
Yeah, I'll go next. I'll just say I'm, definitely looking at 2013 Lampe, 2014 Lampe, 2015. I think she had wins in those years over Victoria. I will say, not wrestling in 2016, 2017. We have nothing to compare, or 18. When was the last year Lampe wrestled before she came
16,
back?
16, I think.
So,
not even 2016, yeah.
Yeah.
prior to the U.S. Open. Mhm.
Right. And then coming back this year and doing what she did, you know, in the senior nationals, whatever the December tournament. Yeah, I'm going with Lampe.
Well, hold up, Ben. Is this just because Victoria Anthony beat you in a virtual match? Come on.
Well, definitely.
This is revenge.
It's a revenge pick. I admit it. Yeah,
Okay,
I admit
as long as you admit it.
it. Okay.
All right. So I think we got what? Ben and I voted.
Lauren, you want to take a stab at it?
I don't know. This one's hard because Alyssa Lampe did have a stellar 2013 year, and she does have wins over Anthony, which is like difficult to argue. But I do think Victoria Anthony in 2017 was pretty standout. I mean, this didn't happen. I wish they could have met up, and that would make this so much easier. But I don't know. I can't decide. I'm torn. I want to say I'm leaning towards Anthony, but with her wins that she has over her, I'm also leaning towards Lampe. So I don't know. I need a little more time to decide.
For me, when I first heard this match, like when Emma first said it, I was like, man, this is hard. And I've been thinking about it for the last couple of minutes. And the more I think about it, the more it's actually pretty clear to me that I have to go with Lampe. I don't know how many times those two wrestled, probably 374 times, give or take. But the majority of those are won by Lampe. Over the course of the entire time they've been wrestling, figure since 2009, when Vicky came on the senior level, 2008 maybe, Lampe has won probably a pretty large majority of those matches. And even though you're looking at 2017 Vicky, where Lampe wasn't competing, she was kind of semi-retired, when you look at like what's sandwiched or like, what are the two pieces of bread on like the Vicky and Lampe sandwich are wins by Lampe. Their most recent meeting, Lampe won. And then everything before that, you know, the World Team Trials finals, all that in 2013, 14, those were all won by Lampe as well. So I think if you look at like, you know, even though we're talking about one specific year and these athletes at their peak, I think they're so similar when we're comparing these 2 years that you do have to look at the overall body of work. And historically speaking, Lampe has gotten the better of their matchup. So I'm going with Lampe.
So that gets you off the hook, Lauren, because that's right. That's 3 for Lampe. Did you pick yet, Emma?
Not yet, but I have similar ideas. I think Victoria in 2017, like, she had that win over Vanish, and we know how good she is, and she had good wins. But I think, like Julia was saying, when it's so close, you kind of do look at the body of work of both the athletes. And I think also, like, objectively, Vicky's got 5th at World twice, and Lampe has 2 World bronzes. So I just think from that standpoint, it'd be hard for me to pick Anthony, so I'm going to go with Lampe.
All right, Lauren, we don't need your vote to put Lampe through, but if you want to go on record here.
All right, I do agree with Julia. Definitely pointed that out. I agree with that completely. So I'm gonna have to say I love Victoria Anthony, but I'm gonna have to say Lampe.
All right, it is done.
All right, so Lampe goes through that round. We have 2015 Emily Webster, 4-time undefeated WCWA champ. First 2004 Patricia Miranda. What do you guys think? The fan vote is with Miranda.
Yeah. I mean, again, you have an Olympic medal, and then as good as Emily Webster was, well, I think 2 things come into play here. One, Emily Webster never made a world team. Patricia Miranda had as an Olympic medal. 2, Emily Webster was like 100 pounds soaking wet and was not even like a decent size 48 kg. If she was still wrestling when the weight class was 50 kg, that's even more of an issue to me. I just think she's undersized for that weight. Not that Patricia Miranda was some giant, but I think between those 2 things, having an Olympic medal and just being small for the weight class, it's pretty clear that it's Patricia Miranda on this one.
It's kind of interesting because we were talking about, I think Emily was matched up with one of the Doi twins last week. I wasn't sure. And I was like, you know, that's probably one of the only matchups where neither of those wrestlers were undersized for the 101, you know? Because they were both like so small. But
yeah.
That being said, I agree with Julia, and I think objectively, you know, Patricia has an Olympic medal, and we give the most weight to that. So I'm going with Patricia.
Yeah, if anybody's wondering about Patricia Miranda, just go watch a video of her wrestling on YouTube. You know, it's one thing to look at a name in a bracket and say, oh, well, Emily Webster, you know, she 4-time WCWA champion, undefeated in college. I mean, Patricia Miranda, she wrestled at a time when I guess there wasn't as much competition. Just go watch her wrestle. She was a hammer.
And if you think that makes her cool, now she's a lawyer. So like she's winning at everything. Like,
Super smart.
yeah, I love that.
Yeah, you know, how can that not put it over the edge? She's a lawyer. So, yeah, I mean, for that reason, Emily Webster, I watched some of her matches too. Great wrestler, great career, of course, but I'm going Miranda as well.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you guys. Agree with the people. I think I take Miranda.
Yep. Miranda.
Okay, so that concludes 50 kg. Our winners were Clarissa Chun, Haley Goylo, Alyssa Lampe, and Patricia Miranda. So 53 kg. We have 2016 Helen Maroulis versus 2010 Jessica Medina. The fan vote is with Helen.
Do we even need to discuss this one?
Yeah.
I love Jess, but Olympic champion beat Yoshida.
That year, I mean, pretty much almost any year, Helen Maroulis, but this year in particular, wow. Yeah, Maroulis on my end.
Yeah, Helen.
Yep, Helen.
Helen.
Okay, so Helen wins that one. Our next matchup is a good one. 2009, Catherine Shy. She also has the fan vote. Versus 2010, Tatiana Padilla, now Tatiana Suarez.
You said 2000. What year, Catherine?
2009.
2009. But Tatiana won bronze in 2010, right? At Worlds?
Yes.
Yeah, for me, that puts her over the edge.
Yep, and there can be multiple arguments about Catherine's peak year. Obviously, she had a great year last year.
That's hard.
Getting second to Sarah in Final X and getting second at the U.S. Open. But we took 2009 Catherine only because that's the year she won one of her WCWA titles. She also got third at World Team Trials and second at the U.S. Open. So they were pretty similar years, so we went with 2009. But my vote is also with Tatiana. I just feel like a world medal kind of like medal versus no world medal, like especially a senior world medal kind of puts it in her favor.
I definitely I'm going to go with Padilla as well. I was just curious, had they wrestled? I wasn't able to find a match between the two of them. Do you know?
I have the answer to that.
Okay.
No, they did not wrestle beyond high school.
Okay.
I actually reached out to Catherine, and she said they did hit in high school, but that was it.
I think one thing about Catherine, if we're talking just from a matchup style, I don't know how much like length Tatiana had. I mean, now she fights at 115 and MMA weight cutting is a whole different thing, but Catherine does present some issues to a lot of really good, world medalists and stuff because of her length, and she's hard to get through and a good defensive, she has good defense. So that could be one problem, but overall, I think Padilla.
Another thing too is that I know we're using like the current weights, but like this era of Tatiana would have had a hell of a time making 53 kg. 2010, it was either 9 or 10. But one year
2010.
Yeah, but no, I'm thinking of something else. I don't remember if it was 9 or 10. I think it was 2009. Tatiana was on both the junior and senior world team, and she went to junior worlds. I think it was 2000. No, I don't know. Point being, there was one year she made both junior and senior world teams and wrestled 59 kg at junior worlds and didn't medal, and then wrestled 55 kg at senior worlds and won a bronze medal. And I know that weight cut was particularly hard for, I remember people talking about it. So I don't even know if that year of Tatiana could have made 53, but if she did, as long as Catherine is, Tatiana would have been an absolute monster there from a size standpoint. So I think that kind of moves in her favor as well.
All right. So do we all got Padilla?
Yeah.
I'm going to be contrary on this one. I am of the opinion that that Catherine's length would have been a bad matchup for Padilla. And we do have somebody asking online. Anthony Harrell's asking who won the high school match. Padilla did win that high school match. It was in the state finals. But I think that, Catherine like many do, leveled up at the next level, and I think she would have been a problem for Padilla. So I'm going with Catherine Shy.
I was curious, so I just Googled it. I know Catherine's 5'7" and Tatiana's 5'5". So slight length difference, but not much.
Yep.
I'm going with Padilla, I think. I think with that bronze medal at the World Championships, that's very telling. And I do think they would have, I think it'd be a close match. I do. But I think I'm going to take Padilla over Catherine Shy.
Okay, that carries that one. So this next one, we got 2018 World Silver, Sarah Hildebrandt versus 2019 Dom Parrish.
Well, Hildebrandt pinned her in 2017, so it was right around that time. I know we're talking, I mean, to be fair, 2 years later, Dominique Parrish, is a leveled up version of her. But Hildebrandt was pretty dominant in that match they had in 2017. I'm going Hildebrandt.
I am too. Domestically speaking, Sarah's kind of torched everyone for the past couple of years. I think her only domestic loss since 2016 was actually when she got hurt against Becca in the World Team Trials Finals in 2017. I don't think she's lost besides that. So, yeah, Sarah.
I'm with the fans and with you guys. I got Sarah. I think a World Silver, only losing to Japan. I think she had a great year. So even though Dom had a good year too, and ended up runner up to a world champ, I just think Sarah would get it.
Can I just say that Sarah was lucky to get through last week's matchup against Tina George?
That was a tough first round.
That was a very tough first round. I don't think some of us knew how good Tina was in her prime, but
you should have seen Olympic trials in 2012 when Tina George showed up out of nowhere. Everyone's like, yo, who's this girl in line for weigh-ins? Like, some of the older girls were like, dude, that's Tina George. And like, it was half split between like, who's Tina George and like, oh shoot, Tina George. So that was pretty interesting.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. She deserves that reputation.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll go with Hildebrandt as well. Obviously, just dominant force in the last few years, definitely in 2018.
I'm a little biased, Dominique Parrish is my roommate. But I will have to leave that aside, go with the strictly wrestling speaking. I think, yeah, like Emma said, only losing to Japan in the World Championships, that's a pretty big deal. And so I'm going to have to go with Hildebrandt as well.
We don't want to get you in trouble, Lauren. I mean,
it's okay. She knows I like
it. Us last week.
Okay. So Sarah also had the fan vote. So that carries it for her. Now this one I think is interesting because we got 2015 Sharon Jacobson, and she had a 12-9 win over Jakara that year in the U.S. Open Finals. Obviously, we're not talking about that version of Jakara. We're talking about her World Championship year. But I just thought that was an interesting little note. The fans are with Jakara on this one.
Yeah, I'm with Jakara on this one. I watched that match, of course, as I'm sure we've all have. It's a great match in 2015, back and forth, and quite a match. But in the last 4 years, the leveling up that Jakara has done, she's a dominant force in women's wrestling for sure.
I think it's hard too because I didn't know who Sharon Jacobson was, and before this, and with that win over Jakara in 2015, but that was 2015 Jakara. So, how old is Jakara? She's fairly young, right?
Jakara's 28. She's a year older than I am.
Oh, okay, so not super young, but that was still 5 years ago, so she would have been younger. And she definitely, like you were saying, Ben, she's definitely leveled up in the last few years. So I think I'm going to go with Jakara as well.
Yeah, I got to think 4 years is worth 3 points.
Yeah.
And we all saw Jakara last year at Worlds. That version of Jakara, is a superhero. So I'm going with Jakara.
I just think from a matchup standpoint too, Jakara, some of her best attacks, I think have developed within the last couple of years. She's really good from an overhook. She has those great knee picks. I just find it now, even from just a technical wrestling standpoint, even if you put aside the world title, I just think it would be a hard matchup for Jacobson now compared to what it was. So I got Jakara as well.
Yeah, me too. Jakar is scary right now, to be honest. So that's a no-brainer.
Okay, well that wraps up 53 kg, and now we're gonna move on to 57 kg. Our first matchup, 2017 World Silver Medalist Allie Reagan versus 2019 Jenna Burkert. I don't know how you say it. Burkett. Does anyone know? Burkett. Okay. Burkett. And the fan vote is actually with Jenna. So.
I mean, one, again, looking at best version, the version of Allie that won a silver medal that year was pretty freaking tough. Two, like career lifetime, Allie's undefeated against Jenna, I think.
Well, they wrestled in 2017 Final X, and
they wrestled at 63 kilos at World Team Trials like back in 2013. I mean, they wrestled quite a few times, and to my knowledge, at least on the senior level, Allie's always won. I think they were in the same weight class once in Fargo in high school or something, but I don't think they wrestled. I think Allie wrestled Delgado.
Yeah, when they wrestled in Final X in 2017, Jenna didn't score. It was 4-0, 5-0. Just, efficient matches. Allie found her points. She, her defense was impeccable. She handled her business.
I think
I'm
going with Allie.
what would happen if they wrestled today. That's my.
I think that was 2018. Is that correct?
2018 Final X they wrestled. 2019 Jenna wrestled Becca.
Yeah.
And Allie wrestled Lauren, I believe.
Yep.
But either way, I'm going with Allie.
Yeah, I'm going with Allie.
I think,
World silver.
No, you're good. Sorry. I think both those girls are definite, hammers. And they're gonna be a hard match for whoever they wrestle. But I think I'm gonna have to go with Allie with that world silver medal for sure.
I'm actually surprised at the fan vote, Emma.
Yeah, Jenna's got some good fans. They pulled through for her. I don't remember the exact percentage, but I remember it being like a good amount that Jenna got the fan vote. But I am going to go against the fan vote. I think, Allie won a world silver. She also won a world silver, from that world championships of, the non-Olympic weights the year before. And it's just hard to get out of my head the Final X matchup. I think that was, probably a different version. I know Jenna kind of changed a lot of things about her lifestyle and her wrestling after and continued to get better. But I think Allie has the edge from me.
It has been done.
All right. This one's pretty good. I like this next one a lot. We got 2004 Olympian Taylor O'Donnell versus 2015 World Silver Lee Janes. And the fan vote is with Lee.
This one's spicy. I like this one.
I know.
It's fun. Because a lot of people, Taylor's era was before, flow wrestling and all that and stuff. And Lee was just kind of on that verge. This one's hard.
And Taylor got 6th at the Olympics, just so you guys know.
This one's difficult because Taylor was also freaking good. I mean, Taylor had wins over Sally Roberts, and Sally was a world medalist. Derek, did you dig to see if they ever wrestled? They probably overlapped at some point.
Lee and Tella?
Yeah.
I did not find that match. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but
yeah.
I mean, what I saw, and this is with a limited view of the matches that were available to watch. It looked like Tella's strength was, once she got on her mat. I mean, on the mat, she could really get turns. She could score. But when it came to, when she was on her feet, she was good. But against, other elite opponents, it didn't seem to be her strength against elite opponents. Her strength was she had to get on the mat. So I thought Lee Janes was better on her feet than Tella O'Donnell. That's why my vote goes to Lee Janes on this one for that reason.
All right, I'm struggling with this one. My gut says Taylor. And I also say that because I don't think, even though that was what you said was 2015 Lee Janes, right?
Yes.
Even though that's the year Lee won a bronze medal, I don't think that was Lee's peak year, to be honest. That was non-Olympic weight the year before the Olympics when she won. It was a pretty small weight. I think Lee was actually better in previous years. So I think the best version of Lee was probably the best version of Taylor. I think that 2004 Taylor was better than 2015 Lee.
So you
So
got
that doesn't
Taylor?
help anyone. That doesn't help anyone at all. But I'm going to say Taylor, but honestly, I think that one could go either way, and I don't think there's a wrong answer to it. I think even being as objective as possible, this is really tough. So I don't know. What's it called when you I'm abstaining. Can I abstain? I'm abstaining.
Abstain. You can't abstain.
I abstain.
Okay, and Lauren?
I don't know. These girls, I'm with Julia. This is gonna be a tough one. I think I'm gonna give the edge to Taylor O'Donnell though. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna go with.
I'm gonna go with Taylor because she's on a reality show, which therefore makes her really cool. Yeah, she's on what's it called? It's on like Discovery Channel, like Alaska: The Last Frontier. So for that reason, I'm gonna go with Taylor. We need to have tiebreaker criteria, and this is my criteria. Taylor's on a reality show.
On
Reality show trumps all.
Yeah.
I'll just say I'm going with Lee James, but I certainly feel like I was almost talked out of it. I definitely have watched the matches and developing opinions from afar. But my opinion, take it as you wish. And a grain of salt, I would go with 2015 Lee James.
I'm gonna go with Taylor because Lee James, even though a world medal is amazing and it is a world medal, she was, like Julia said, in a non-Olympic weight the year before the Olympics. And I just think that, making an Olympic team with weights, multiple weights condensed into one compared to being in a non-Olympic weight, for me, that kind of is hard to get out of my head. And I think Taylor too, was a really good wrestler, Olympian. And I think Lee James was, a really, from what I heard of other people when they wrestled her, really strong and like kind of grippy. And so I think that Taylor, might be able to turn her from down there, after she got a takedown. So I'm going to go with Taylor.
How deep into like, how subjective can we be about like what our own criteria is for this?
Really, I mean, we've been going like, Olympic medals, Olympian world medals.
Here's my other thing, and this isn't so much like from a result standpoint, but this is 57 kg. We're using Olympic weight, 57 kg, right? So I'm going to point this out, and we can throw it in the trash or we can use it as a criteria. But Taylor made an Olympic team. Lee James missed weight at 2 consecutive Olympic trials. She missed weight in 2012 and 2016 for 55 kg, and then 50, whatever, I don't even know what the Olympic weights were anymore in 2016. But point being, she missed weight 2 consecutive Olympic trials. Taylor O'Donnell won on the scale and then made the team. So for that reason alone, again, between that and reality TV show, I'm sticking with Taylor.
But you're just giving her atta-girl points?
Yeah.
Like, hey, you made weight. Good
but
job.
it matters. You know what I mean? Like, if Lee James had made weight that day, who knows what version of her would have showed up on the map? We'll never know because she didn't make weight and didn't even compete in that weight class. So, yeah.
So how subjective can we go here, though? Because
that's what I'm saying. Like this, when it's so razor thin like this, like if this was like some of these other matchups, like that doesn't even count. Like,
because I once knew somebody named Lee, but I've never known anybody named Taylor.
Is the person that you knew named Lee really, really cool? Because then there's like consistency. Like if people with the name Lee are really, really cool, maybe we have to lean towards Lee now. I mean, it's.
Wait, I got a question. Ben, are you convinced, or do you need to go against Julia in a jiu-jitsu match?
I'm gonna be training jiu-jitsu later today, and
just later today.
Well, I'm gonna start. I might end today too. It might be my only day of training.
Very short-lived career.
Julia, watch out. He's got 1 day of training underneath his belt.
Ready. I'm ready.
Okay, so I think
I do have a boo-boo on my finger right here.
Okay.
I stabbed it with a fork. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh yeah.
I'm at a disadvantage. I'm currently I have a handicap right now. So
does anybody want to say that? Nobody said the obvious. Okay, Lee Miracle. Right, they won the WCWAs this year. So if we're talking criteria, she has the same name as the head coach of Campbellsville.
There we go.
Come on.
So I think it's time to wrap that one up. As fun as it is. But our next match is also, in my opinion, pretty spicy. We got 2005 World Bronze Sally Roberts versus 2017 World Bronze Becca Leathers. And the fan vote is with Sally.
Can I just make one kind of overarching point? Because I think that the last match and this match bring up the fact that the rule sets were different back then. And in 2004 and 2005, there was more restarts on the mat. You know, so if somebody was better at turns on the mat, they actually would have had more opportunity for that based on the rule sets back then than they would today. Not to say that I even understand all the intricacies of the rules they had back then, but there were more restarts, you know, where they were putting people in parterre. So if somebody is good on the mat, there was more opportunity for that, you know, a decade ago.
I think I saw that in an O'Donnell-Roberts match, right? I was watching some of that, and they were doing more restarts, and I'd have to watch the match again.
Yeah, I'm not sure what match it was, but yeah, I saw a lot of that in those matches from the mid-2000s.
And Sally was nails on top. I mean, anyone that, like, if there's one thing you knew about Sally's wrestling, it was her gut wrench. She had a very unique gut wrench. She almost like went to a tight waist and then put her opposite side arm on top of their back, and it's disgustingly tight. So in that situation, I mean, like, Sally, I think, did have better parterre, but I think just like that the version of Becca that was at the World Championships that year was very, very tough. And I think I'll go with Becca. But like you said, that whole twist with like the different rule set and how good Sally was in parterre is a factor. But I still think I go with Becca.
I think I'm going to go with Sally because when they both have world bronzes, I think you got to look at the body of work. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Sally had 2 world bronzes.
She did.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Sally.
I'm going to go with Sally because this is looking like a close, like it's going to be close, and I'll just put mine in now. I'm going with Sally.
You don't want to be the deciding factor. You wimp.
No,
did they wrestle? And I don't think they would have. But when Sally came back after she retired the first time, do you know if her and Becca ever wrestled?
I did not see a result on that.
Becca would have had it because at one point Sally was at 59 or 58 kilos, and I'm wondering if her and Becca ever competed. I don't know the answer, but
I'm not sure either.
That'd be interesting.
I can't unsee how great Becca Leathers was in that 2017 year. She was on fire that year, you know, even at the world level, just so freaking tough. Of course, Sally Roberts was tough in her day as well, but I just feel like, except for 2 women that year, in a year when, you know, we're talking 12 years later, you know, with the maturity of the sport, you know, as far as the women's wrestling community goes and the competition level, for that reason, I'm going to go with Becca Leathers.
Looks like I'm the deciding. Is that what it is?
Oh, boom, found it. 2016 Dave Schultz Memorial International. Becca Leathers decision, Sally Roberts 6-0.
Okay. Emma
What
Randall,
year was that, Julia?
2016.
Okay.
by the way, Emma Randall piped in on Facebook, and she said this one's a battle of gut wrenches.
Yeah.
Lauren, who do you got?
I don't know. I think so. Was it Derek? Were you the one who was saying back in the day you had different rules, but also you could make a argument for back in the day there was less women wrestling too, so you have to take that into account.
Right.
So I don't know about the different rules. I think I do think Becca Leathers in 2017 with that world bronze was on fire. That was like a killer year for her. But I think I'm gonna have to go with Sally Roberts because she got like Emma said, she has 2 world bronzes, and I think it would be a super close match, but I think I'm gonna have to end up with Sally Roberts.
So that's Derek. Did you vote yet?
I did. I went with Becca.
You vote Becca. So we have Julia, and you with Becca, and then the 3 of us with Sally. Sally does have the fan vote, so I think that might be an upset. But Sally advances to the semis.
Well, Sally is the higher seed, so I guess in that sense, not an upset.
Not an upset.
Hey,
Okay.
listen, we all love wrestling so much. We need to probably be a little more efficient here. Let's speed it up.
Okay, we got 2019 Abby Nettie, U.S. Open champ versus 2008 Marcy Van Dusen, Olympian. And the fan vote is with Marcy.
Marcy. Marcy is one of the few people to ever beat Yoshida. That's a pretty big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I got Marcy.
I got Marcy too.
I was considering Nettie until I just heard Julia talk.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but
I think Nettie's a hammer, and I think she had a great year this year. And but Marcy, like Julia said, one of the only people to beat Yoshida, made an Olympic team, so I got to go with her.
I mean, Nettie has definitely improved. Like seeing her in the last 3 years, even like she has improved exponentially. But I do, yeah, I'm gonna say Marcy Van Dusen.
Okay.
All right, is that it for Marcy?
That's it.
All right. Our next matchup, we have hold on. That was the last of 57 kg. So now we are on to 62 kg. We have 2004 Olympic silver Sarah McMahon versus 2017 junior world champ Maya Nelson.
Hey, can we just pause here because we got in trouble right here last week, apparently for saying Maya's name wrong. Can we just settle this once and for all for this show and the wrestling community? The official pronunciation is Maya, right?
Maya.
Okay. Well, we said that in the show last week, and somebody said that somebody got pretty upset with us and said we didn't pronounce it right.
It's tough with names sometimes. I mean, to be honest with you, and this is no joke, I actually pronounced one of my kids' names wrong. Wrong. I've been doing it for years. I just asked her the other day, I said, how do you pronounce your name? And realized I am pronouncing her name differently than apparently we named her. But yeah, that's failing on that one.
For me, this one isn't like 2017 Maya, definitely was a hammer. She made the national team, like senior national team. But to me, you can't argue with Olympic silver, in my opinion. So I guess
her loss was to Icho. So like, so that's basically a gold medal. Like,
it's forgivable.
You know what I mean? Like,
wasn't it super close too? It was
I don't remember what the final score was.
2-1 or something like. It was close, and I thought.
Yeah. So like, you basically won. So I'm gonna go with Sarah.
Yeah, I'm thumbs up with McMahon.
Same. I'm with McMahon as well.
All right, I'm going with McMahon, and I want to circle back to what I said a second ago. I'd have to listen back to the show, but if I mispronounced Maya's name in that show, I'm sorry. It was just a glitch in the matrix. Nothing but respect for Maya Nelson. This is actually not an easy decision, as good as Maya is, especially world champ in 2017. All respect to her. That said, I'm also going with Sarah.
The fans are also with Sarah, so that's a sweep for her. Next, in my opinion, I think we got one of the spiciest matchups of the tournament just because of these athletes' peak years. We have 2018 Mal Velti, and that's the year she beat Kayla to make a world team and win bronze. Versus 2019 Kayla Miracle, who also owns 2 wins over Velti, dominant wins to make the world team.
Can you say that again? So what years they were?
So Mal's peak year is 2018 when she beat Kayla to win the world team spot and go on to win bronze. 2019 is Kayla's peak year where she has 2 wins over Mal and made the world team.
I'm gonna go with Mal, solely because even though Kayla won the most recent meeting, they have split matches pretty consistently. They've gone back and forth. But in Mal's peak year, she won a medal. In Kayla's peak year, she did not. So to me, that's just a tiebreaker. So I'm gonna go with Mal.
I'm going Kayla. The Final X 2019, as Emma pointed out, 2 pretty dominant wins. 12-2 tech fall and the 4-0 win. Won that 2 matches to 0. Within a year of Mallory's peak year, I think Kayla's peak year is just an inch above Mallory's peak year. So, and Kayla did win the U23 medal last year. She won
I
what?
think.
U23 silver, is that right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I'm going with Kayla.
I think this is definitely a close match just because these girls have met up so many times and they've had some close matches. Julia does make a good point that Mal went in her peak won a world medal and Kayla in her peak did not at the senior level at least. But I think those 2 wins that Kayla has over Mal, I think that is going to put it just barely over the edge. So I'm going to go with Kayla on this one.
For me, it's definitely interesting. Just from like I can't help but thinking from like the times, I actually wrestled Kayla in 2017 at U23s when I was like, I think a junior or senior in high school, and then wrestled Mal again this year. But I think just the world medal that Mal has in her peak year, even though I think Kayla's really, really good and she does have 2 wins, most recently over Mal, I'm going to go with the world bronze. So I got Mal.
I'm not going to take any time to defend my opinion, but I'm going with Kayla.
Okay, so that takes it, I think, for Kayla. So our next matchup, we have 2008 Randy Miller versus 2016 Aaron Claudio, and our fan vote is with Randy.
Randy.
Same, Randy.
Same.
I think this one's almost the next topic for me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We all in agreement there?
Yep.
So we have 2019 Macy Kilty versus 2012 World Silver and Olympian Elena Porskova.
Elena was so freaking good, man. I feel like people have already started like forgetting how good Elena was. Like Elena was freaking good. So I'm going Elena.
Did you guys ever wrestle?
Yeah,
You and
once
Elena?
she pinned me. She pinned that. So actually, I wrestled Elena one time, and that day I beat Mensa 9-1. I beat Alina Makina, who's a world champ from Ukraine and a world silver medalist this past year. Beat those 2, and I was like, man, I'm having a good day. Like I'm gonna give Elena a good match. And then I got pinned in an armbar in like 47 seconds. So that's how that went.
We have something in common, Julia. I've been pinned by the armbar as well many times.
Welcome to the club.
I'm going with Pirskova, yeah.
I'm going to go with Elena as well. Macy Kilty's really been killing it the last few years, but I'm definitely going to go with Elena.
Yeah,
Okay.
love Macy Kilty. U23 silver last year. Best days are ahead of her still. So if we're talking peak years, I don't think Macy's peaked yet. I got to go with 2012 Elena as well.
All right, that's it for 62 kg. So we're moving on to 68. We got 2019 Tamara Mensah-Stock, world champion, versus 2019 Olivia Fisk, one of the SFU wrestlers, Ben.
Yeah.
To me, this is another next topic.
Yeah.
Mecca. Yeah.
Ben, you already used your landmine, so you can't.
I can't landmine.
Put Fisk through. I
think if I landmine this match, that would not. That is not an accurate representation.
From the show.
I would make him go to tap you in less than 10 seconds. Being so stupid.
I'm just curious, Julia. I'm curious. How would you do it? How would you get him to submit? What's your go-to on Ben?
I actually have a sneaky little lapel choke that I'm pretty good at. Okay. But it takes a while to do it right. It takes a second to set it up. So I might just go flying armbar, just jumping flying armbar right out of the gate. I
would tap while you're in the air, probably.
Okay.
Moving on.
Does everyone got Mensa?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
I got Mensa. Love Olivia Fisk. I'm sure good teammate of Lauren here. Lauren, did you pick or are you abstaining?
I'm abstaining, but I mean, if we're being real, I love Liv. Liv, I don't think has peaked yet either. I think she's in the same category as Macy. She's still young. She did really well last year and the year before, and I think she's got a lot to go. But Tamara Mensah-Stock, she's a killer. I mean, that's hard to argue with. World champ, lots of accolades under her belt. So I'm gonna have to go with Mensah-Stock. I love Liv, but she'll understand.
All right, so we got Mensa making it through to the semis. Next up, we got 2018 Julia Salata versus 2019 Victoria Francis. We have Julia in the house, so.
Am I allowed to advocate for myself?
Yes.
Yeah.
We assume that the wrestlers vote for themselves, just so you know, right? You got to believe in yourself, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. First of all, I don't think 2018 is my peak year. Shockingly enough, I think 2015 actually was. But then I had shoulder surgery right before the U.S. Open and World Team Trials. But that was the year I beat Mensa 9-1, beat Alina McKenna. My senior year of college, I didn't give up a single takedown. Nope, that's not true. I gave up a takedown in the semis of WCWAs, but I don't know. That was my best year. But I digress. I have 3 wins over Victoria Francis, 3 versus 2. And then also at 68 kilos, I think I'm definitely the better wrestler. All of my losses to her was when I was going up to 75 kg, weighing about 69 with my clothes on. So I think at 68 especially, I think I'm better.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm not
Julia,
buying
that was a great
Subjective
argument.
and extremely biased opinion.
Wait, can I say something, y'all? That
No
was
bias
a great
whatsoever.
argument, and I think Julia brings up some valid points, but it doesn't matter because I'm mining it for Julia. So, Victoria, you're awesome. I love you, but I got Julia, and I'm landing
My girl.
Victoria, I was going to advocate for you. Just know that, Victoria. I was going to advocate for you. Okay, here's how I was going to do it. Julia, who won the last match between you and Victoria?
Victoria did. But who has the most wins? What weight class was it? I was wrestling at 75 because Adeline told me I had to. And I weighed like 69.4. So.
All right, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Victoria's awesome. Super
freestyle's all
talented.
about last score, right? Freestyle's all about last takedown.
No, it's about who has the most points first. And I have 3 versus 2.
There it is.
Boom.
8.
Emma's got me.
8.
Emma's got
There we
me.
go. I got
8-7
Julia.
was the score.
Emma's got me.
All right, next
At
up,
one point.
we got another good one. 2019 Fullest Molinari. 2019 Alex Glade. What you guys think? The fans are with Forrest on this one.
Forrest for sure. Forrest is undefeated against Alex Glade too. I actually don't think she's ever given up a point to her. She hasn't.
When did they wrestle?
They wrestled at National Duels one year, 2004 senior year. So 2017 National Duels, they wrestled, and they wrestled one time before that too. But
I saw the match where Forrest teched her a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's Forrest Hector once, and that National Duels, that was actually the match to decide National Duels, and Forrest kind of wrestled kind of conservatively just to win. I think she won 6-0 or something like that. But yeah, Forrest.
They were actually too, I want to point out, they were in the same bracket at Senior Nationals in December. And even though I love Alex and she's my teammate, and I think, you know, she's got a lot of great things ahead of her. You know, Forrest won the bracket and pinned Victoria, and Alex lost to Victoria in the semis. So for that reason, I got Forrest.
I got to say. Oh, go ahead, Lauren.
Head-to-head. Sorry. I think with that head-to-head, I'm going to have to go with Forrest, but I do agree. Alex has got a lot of potential, I think, ahead of her. I mean, I think Forrest does too, but I'm going to have to go with Forrest.
Yeah.
Okay, I am going with Forrest, but with a caveat. I do think that if Alex pulled the trigger and went into the match with a mindset that I can score, I think she could score. I think sometimes when Alex gets in those matches, she likes to keep the score low, and you know you end up in a little shot clock push out battle. But I think we saw it at U23s when she won the bronze. Right, she was in one of those matches. It was close, but right in the last 10 seconds, she goes, "Yo, I got nothing to lose." She shot a blast double and won a freaking bronze medal.
Listen.
We're
going in December. In December at the U.S. Open, Ashlyn Ortega beat Alex Glade, and that same day, Forrest Molinari pinned Ashlyn Ortega. So recent common opponent win. Forrest pinned Ashlyn. Ashlyn beat Alex Glade.
I'm not arguing. I'm saying that if Alex pulled the trigger and went in with that mindset, I think she could win that match. But I am picking Forrest. I think she could win that match, though.
All right, so Forrest sweeps that one. Much love to Alex. She's a great person, great wrestler. But we got Forrest advancing to the semis in this bracket. This next one for me is pretty much the next topic. We got 2016 Alexis Porter versus 2004 Takara Montgomery, Olympian. So I got Takara.
Shout out to New Yorker Alexis Porter, making the top 8. Love AP. Love what she's done for our state. Love what she's done for the sport. Great wrestler, 4-time All-American. I'm going with Takara.
Definitely.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
agree.
All right. That wraps up 68 kg. So we're on to the last, but certainly not least, weight class, and we're starting it off with none other than 2019 world champion Adeline Gray. This one is the next topic for me. I love Precious, but first 2019 Precious Bell.
Yeah. Next topic.
Listen, Precious Bell is on a mission, right?
Didn't Adeline beat her in Final X in 2 straight matches?
She did. But look at Precious Bell 2019 and Precious Bell 2020, right? 2019, she took 4th at WCWA, and then she wins senior nationals in late 2019. So she's on a mission, and I'm picking Adeline, but I don't want to be dismissive here. I think Precious Bell is closing the gap.
I think
there's-
Precious. Oh.
Go ahead.
Okay. I think Precious has a lot of great. She's had a lot of great matches this year and a lot of big wins, but I mean, I got to go with Adeline Gray.
Yeah, I'm going with Adeline as well. I think the gap is massive, and
I was gonna say something not mean, but something that kind of echoes that, but I'm not gonna say it.
I don't know. We'll see.
I think Adeline's beaten the entire world 5 years in a row.
I'm just gonna say it. The only gap that's getting closed is whether or not she gets tagged in the first or second period. It's like that's, and that's not to knock Precious. Precious is super talented. I mean,
I nudged
is
Julie
unreal.
over the edge. I put
Yeah,
Julie
I
over
mean,
the edge.
Precious is really, really good, but Adeline is just in her own like galaxy right now. So it's more of a testament to Adeline than knock on Precious.
Yeah, I mean, Adeline's one of the best ever. I can't not pick her, but I'm just, as you know, as an observer of women's wrestling, I just wanted to note that Precious Bell has been working her tail off, been getting better.
It's tough.
The next matchup, I think, is a pretty spicy one. We got 2
I
world bronze.
think for all these.
I'm sorry, we had a little hitch there in the Matrix again. Go ahead, Lauren, could you repeat that?
Oh yeah, sorry. This was just a quick thing. I think going off of what Julia was saying, all of these matches is not like a diss on any of the girls who are losing. It's a accolades to the girls who are winning, because all of these girls, they're in the best of all time bracket, so they have great matches, they have great accomplishments.
Everybody's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and to note that too, like, we're not trying to play out any biases we have or say one athlete, isn't good. Obviously, if you're in the best of all time bracket, you're pretty freaking good. It's just, something to promote the sport. And it's also interesting to kind of say, what if they wrestled in these kind of peak years? So, but our next matchup is 2005 Katie Downing, world bronze. First 2011 Ali Bernard, who I believe also has a world bronze, and then went on to make the Olympic team when Stephanie Lee popped hot a year later. So for this matchup for me, initially I looked at it and I was like, well, Ali, she went and made the Olympic team, but I think I got Katie Downing because in her peak year, she had to beat Chrissy Davis twice, who we know is insanely good. And Chrissy's not peak, but in the years where she was a hammer. And she not only did that, she went on to win a bronze. So I got Katie in this one.
This one's tough. This is a really tough one.
Yeah, I love this match.
Katie was a monster. And I wrestled. I never wrestled Ali in competition, but I wrestled her quite a bit in camps and stuff. Do I have time for a quick story that's not really relevant, but it's funny? So my little baby first year at the Olympic Training Center, I was 18 years old, was the 2012 Olympic year. And for whatever reason, Ali Bernard kept pulling me to practice. I don't know why, but she did. So the summer kind of goes on. We're up in Canada for Canada Cup, and she needed a drill partner. She's like, Julia, come here. I need to get a warm-up drill. I was like, yeah, no problem. I didn't know any better. And she's like, hey, I think you have something on the back of your shirt. Can you turn around for a second? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever you need. Like, you're training for the Olympics, whatever you need to turn around, okay. And I turn around, and she just grabs the back of my shirt and just wipes her whole face off on it, and then turns me back around. She's like, okay, we can keep drilling now. Like, there's nothing on my shirt. You just need to wipe your face. She's like, yeah. Like,
That's a
okay,
great story.
all right. And I was again like 18 years old and scared. Like, this is Allie Bernard, and I'm like, just let her do it. So yeah. Anyway, I digress. This is tough because again, like Katie's from that era where like there was no flow, there was no film on her, but she was really freaking good. And then Allie made an Olympic team outright in 2012 or 2008. Sorry, made it by default in 2012. Like I mentioned, after Stephanie Lee failed her drug test, and then won a world bronze medal in between that. I think the level of competition was probably tougher in 2011 when Allie won her bronze medal compared to 2005, but 2 wins over Christy Davis in her prime is also nothing to sneeze at. So I'm leaning towards Allie, but I think there's another scenario where I don't think there is like an objectively right answer. But I think I'll give a slight edge to Allie, but not by much, if at all. I mean, it's neck and neck.
Yeah, I thought in this bracket, if you're talking about the best match in this round, for me, that's this match here. Like you say, I don't. You can make a case for either of them. I'm having a hard time, knowing the fact that Katie Downing beat Christy Davis twice in her peak year. To me, Allie Bernard beat Jenny Franzen, world bronze medalist.
Jenny Franzen is a world silver too.
Jenny Franzen.
Yeah, Jenny Franzen won silver because Mensa beat her in the finals this past year.
Yep, that's right.
But didn't they take that away because she failed a drug test?
Jenny Franzen did?
Did she?
I thought Mensa's opponent, Sweden. She's from Sweden, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I thought she did. She posted on her Instagram something about it, but I can do some digging right now.
Yeah, Ben, could you check that? I don't want to leave that out there if that's not true about Jenny Franzen. But that said, I'm going Katie Downing. Those 2 wins over Christy Davis. Man, that's.
If Katie Downing wins, I might change my vote because then the Wrestling a Girls staff will be undefeated in these hypothetical matchups.
Oh.
Wait, did we give Taylor the win or did we give the win to Lee Janes?
Guys, I got something.
Lee got that.
It says.
Oh, just kidding. All right, never mind.
Hold on, it says Olympic medalist Franzen removed from Swedish team after positive test confirmed.
Wow.
Jenny Franzen has been removed from the Swedish team for Tokyo 2020 following confirmation of her positive drug test.
That's wild. I had no idea.
Hold on.
That happened in February. That happened in February this year.
A women's media service that covers, women's wrestling should post something about that.
Yeah, that was on. I found an article on Reuters on February 7th, I think. So
that's
nuts. I had no idea.
Franzen. That's rough.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it says she got bronze in 2008 and 2019, but I think they meant silver in 2019. Yeah. But I didn't know she had a world title at 72 kg either.
2012?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And I mean, to her defense too, like, sometimes they honestly don't know. There is ignorance in that process, and I'm not saying every time, sometimes they use that excuse, but to her defense,
she's gone a lot of years of passing drug tests to fail one now. You know what I mean? Like, and this
in the article
isn't exactly known for cheating. I mean, if this was Russia or Ukraine or something, I'd be like, well, yeah, I know, duh. But when you think Sweden, cheater doesn't come to mind is the next thought. But I mean,
makes me think she ate a protein bar with some. I don't know.
Yeah.
She claims that there was a contaminated water bottle, so that might have something might have happened.
So did we confirm that they took the medals? Because Emma Randall's wondering about that on Facebook too. Did they actually take the medals away?
I know it says she was suspended for 2020. Now faces a ban from the sport.
Does it say what event the failed test was at? Was it at the World Championships?
Taken on January 9th.
Of this year?
Traces of anabolic steroid methyl testosterone. I'm not sure.
So this January, like January 2020.
Yes.
I don't know if they would have. I don't think they can take medals retroactively unless they retested her B sample from the World Championships as a result.
Okay.
I don't know if they
keep her medals. She's DQ'd and maybe permanently banned from the sport.
Yeah.
That's rough news.
But I don't think they would strip her medals retroactively if the test
Okay.
wasn't from that event.
So Emma Randall,
sure.
I think you're right on that with your comment on Facebook. We should get Emma Randall on this show.
Yeah, Emma, please come on. But back to the voting for this one, just for time's sake. I had Katie. I believe you had Katie, Derek, and then Julia, and the fans are with Allie. Lauren and Ben, what are your votes?
I'm with Allie on this, even though there's she defaulted into the 2012 two-time Olympians, pretty special, in her career. So I'm going with Allie.
Question: What 2005? What weight was Katie at?
I believe it was 72 because they didn't have 76 back then.
What year? Because 2005, Iris Smith also won a world championship. What weight? And Iris would have been 72. So I'm just trying to.
Hold on, I will. While I'm looking this up, Derek or Ben, you said yours, correct?
Yes.
Lauren, what is your vote?
I don't know. I'm thinking, Allie Bernard, two-time Olympian, that's a pretty big deal. Also Katie Downing beating Christy Davis, also a very big deal. So I think, I don't know. I'm going to have to go with Katie Downing, I think.
And Katie Downing was 67 kilograms in 2005 U.S. Nationals.
Okay.
So Julia, are you going to change your vote or are you going to keep it? Because we're tied right now, so it's about to go to either you or the fans.
This one's hard. I don't know. Because again, like, I'm saying Allie because I feel like the field was probably tougher in 2011 when she won her medal. But like, is that recency bias? But it was also 9 years ago. So like, how much recency bias can you actually have?
But I feel like depth, though, when you say that, like, Christy Davis, one of the best in the world, beating her would be like pretty good competition.
Mm. Mm-hmm. It would be, yeah, 100%.
So Julia, you're thinking about changing your vote?
I'm considering it. When I think about Allie is like, Allie was kind of an enigma too. Like 2012 Olympic trials final it was almost like she didn't even want to be there. Like the way she competed, and she ended up making the team anyway by default. But like when she was on, she was so freaking good. And when she was off, it was a different person out on the mat. So I think Katie Downing at her best was maybe more consistent. But Allie Bernard on her very best day, I think was better. So do you value consistency over a period of time more than the very, very, very peak best version of somebody, I guess?
Do we need to get down into criteria again, like what flavor of fruit roll-ups?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, seriously, to me, they're that close. And I think those two, the 2005 Katie Downing and the 2011 Allie Bernard, could wrestle 10 times and you would have 10 different outcomes. So.
But that plays into the consistency thing, right? That would give more oomph to the consistency rather than the best of the best.
Right.
Well, yeah. I think because we're going off the athletes like very peak year, we're trying to find the peak version of them because it's hard to compare wrestlers if you can't define their peak.
Best version of Allie Bernard to ever step on a mat, ever. Like the best day. If it was one single day in practice, the best version of her was better than the very best version of Katie Downing. But I do think Katie was probably more consistent throughout.
So I think that is Allie, right?
Yeah, so I think Allie.
Hey, just for one more thing, they did wrestle in what, 2008?
Let's back up. Let's think this. Allie Bernard was also a two-time junior world champion, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Do you give that any criteria over whether or not Katie did anything in junior world? I don't even know if she's on a team or what. I just know that Allie was also a two-time junior world champ.
Yeah, and also Allie beat Katie twice in 2008.
There we go. Yeah, so I'm sticking with Allie.
All right. Well, the fans are also with Allie, so that puts Allie advancing to the semis. And our next match, I don't think people on paper would think it would be a good match, but I think 2005 Iris Smith, the year she won Worlds, versus 2008 Melissa Simmons. I think people forget that Melissa Simmons was pretty freaking good. But that being said, for me, Iris has a world title, so even though Melissa was a freaking hammer for OCU. Really tough. I got Iris.
Yeah, I've got Iris.
I'm gonna go with Iris too. That world championship is pretty big.
Yeah. Yep. Iris.
Yep.
Just a quick question to Julia. It'd be interesting to look at how many people win the U.S. Open and WCWAs in the same year, because that's what Melissa did in 2008 and why it's their peak year. But I wonder if we took like all the U.S. Open champs and looked at how many of them won WCWAs, like how many there would be, you know?
That sounds like a good Reaper article, Emma.
I know. I might have to do some digging.
Hey, a
Who
Facebook
also
comment.
that didn't make this bracket, but I feel like deserves a shout out is Kendra Lewis. Kendra Lewis is freaking tough. Senior national team member. Very good wrestler for Lindenwood. I think she might have started at Cumberland's and transferred to Lindenwood. But Kendra had wins over Justina D'Estasio. Kendra had wins over Brittany Roberts.
Yeah, one of the best.
She wasn't on this bracket, but I think she deserves like kind of like an honorable mention shout out because she was as good as several of the girls on this bracket were.
Shout out for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, so on Facebook, Emma Randall, this is actually circling back to the Allie-Katie match, just to kind of put a footnote on it. Emma Randall says, if they start in front headlock or wrestle in space, Allie wins. If not, Katie wins.
Yeah.
That close, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Derek, did you vote yet?
I did. I went with Iris.
Lauren?
Iris as well.
Iris.
Iris, okay. So Iris advances to the semis. Our last match of the day, we got 2013 U.S. Open champ Victoria Carlson versus 2007 Christy Davis. I believe she won a world silver that year.
Out of curiosity, why is Vani at 75?
76, it said.
Yeah, because
She
she
was
won
U.S. Open champ that year.
her
But
world team. She made in 2013 at 67, and then when the weight classes changed up to 69, never competed above that. But she spent most of her career at 63.
Yeah, but we needed 16 awesome wrestlers in 76.
Yeah, so for
Yeah,
that,
I think-
for that reason alone, like Vani never would have been a full size 76, and it's Christy, who I think she never beat. So definitely Christy.
Yeah, but let's say it's the 76 kilo version of in an alternate universe, the Spider-Verse of Veronica Carlson. Then
Still Christy.
I think also a footnote for people, just so you know, there's some wrestlers who, I think there was a couple, they aren't at like some of their weights that they competed at. Part of that is because we got to put people in Olympic weights and the weights have changed over the years. And part of that is there's some girls who wouldn't quite like make it in one bracket, or maybe like there's just so many good people that we wanted to include them but didn't put them in the bracket that maybe they competed the most often. So sorry, Victoria, on that part, but in this Spider-Verse, you are 76.
and I'm going, start spreading the news.
Get it.
Look,
Get
baby.
it.
Our girl, Christy Davis, most decorated
I mean,
wrestler of all
Christy
time,
Davis
not
as
the
well.
female wrestler, American wrestler.
And I think, just so you know, if Christy Davis wins, which I'm assuming that's going to happen, the fans are also with her, that had set up a semi between 2005 world champ Ira Smith and 2007 Christy Davis.
Christy.
Jeez.
I am Christy. Definitely.
Christy, I just wanted to hear if Julia had another story.
I did, but I wasn't, no. It was very self-deprecating.
Okay, well,
I am
think,
defeated against Christy Davis. Some people are undefeated. I am defeated against Christy Davis. And I'm also defeated against Veronica Carlson. So good thing I'm not in this matchup.
Lauren, did you vote?
Yeah, I said Christy for sure.
Christy. I think it's Christy all around for here, and that wraps up our quarterfinals. I thought there were some pretty juicy matchups in that one. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just super hyped for the semis.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. This has been a great experience for all of us, and I hope other people are enjoying it. You know, we got some haters, but to me, the haters and the pushback just it just shows you how passionate people are about women's wrestling. They care about the sport, and that's where it comes from. So, you know, if we get some pushback, it's all good. We're promoting the sport, and this has been a lot of fun.
Anything
Yeah,
to do with the conversation, for sure.
Yeah, thank you so much, Julia, for coming on. And while we have you, just real quick, what have you been up to in quarantine? How's quarantine life been going for you?
So I wake up every morning and I go work out, and then I eat lunch, and then I work out, and then I take a quick break, and then I go bike for a little bit, and then I come home and I watch MasterChef, and then I go to sleep. So that's pretty much what I do every single day.
Do you think of Ben at all when you're training? You know, the fact that you're going to have
Always.
you got this
100%.
jiu-jitsu match.
Ever since that podcast episode, it's just like burned, like seared into my
Right.
brain right in
there.
front.
Yeah.
You have his nickname.
I have a punching bag set up in the wrestling room right now, and I actually printed out a picture of his face and put it like square on there.
I have that too.
Like Dutch drills and stuff, and like you know, like all that. It's just Ben, and like, you know, then wake up and do it all over again. So
It's very motivating, isn't it?
It is. But on a more like productive note, Wrestling a Girl is still doing a lot of really good stuff. Derek, something we talked about in the podcast is state sanctioning. Where we're currently working with Nebraska, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Alabama, and Ohio on getting high school women's wrestling sanctioned in those states, assembling task forces to kind of work on getting the ball rolling a little bit there, moving the needle. Still getting a lot done on that end. We actually had a conversation with a couple people from the NCAA a couple weeks ago about where we're at with the Division I vote. That vote is still going to happen, but it's obviously pushed back a little bit right now. So it's been tabled for the time being, but still on the table, making a lot of progress there. And then we're also working on our empowerment camp series for the next couple of months. Because of everything going on with COVID, we couldn't do the in-person camps that we wanted to, but we're looking at doing something maybe virtually. It'd be like a six-part series or something like that for youth and high school women wrestlers. So still a lot happening there productively, getting things done, just using this time wisely rather than sitting around, still doing what we can to get things done and keep like promoting women's wrestling, you know.
Awesome.
Great work.
All right. Well, it was great doing the show with you guys today. And I think this was a great episode, and I can't wait for the fans to hear it.
Likewise. Thank you, Lauren, for joining us. Thank you, Julia. Emma, thank you for all the work that you've been doing. You know, you've worked so hard to make this a success, and, you know, we are very appreciative of you and thankful that you've taken the lead on all this. Ben, thanks for being with us today. And until next week, we are out.